Hello, word nerds, and welcome to another episode of the Dictionary hosted by me, Spencer. This is episode F106. Yes, 106. And we have more fish words. We have the rest of the fish words, other than things like salmon and shellfish. Okay, the first word is fish eye, 2 words with a hyphen. Adjective from 1943. Being, having, or produced by a wide-angle photographic lens that has a highly curved protruding front that covers an angle of about 180 degrees and that gives a circular image. If you don't know, maybe you've seen it, you didn't know what it was called, what it all meant exactly. There are lenses that you can put on your camera, even your phone camera, that curve everything, that make it all round, can see more all around than a normal lens, a quote-unquote normal lens. And it creates a very cool and weird effect. Maybe I can do some post-production and change my video to look fisheye, even though I'm not using a fisheye lens. These are fun, weird lenses, and yeah, they the front lens is very curved out, like a fish's eye, sticks out, curves, or maybe if you're looking at a cat's eye, it's very curvy in the front. And it just, because it's such a wide angle, it sees everything. It sort of needs to, how does it deal with, that's not what I'm trying to say. When you can see so much, everything just gets curved. It's like you've mapped it onto a sphere. That's what it looks like. And it's a very cool effect. And I like it. I think I have a fisheye lens. I haven't really used it much because I don't really use my cameras and lenses as much as I would like to. I did get a fisheye lens for my phone many years ago. I think it was maybe one of those magnet things, and I posted like a little test video on YouTube. I'll put the link to that in the show notes. Anyway, I don't know. They're just kind of cool, and you can be used in fun. Skateboard videos, I think, use a lot of fisheye lenses. All right, let's move on. Let's go. Boop. The next word is fish farm, 2 words, noun from 1865. This is a commercial facility for raising aquatic animals for human food. Fish farm, 2 words with a hyphen, is a transitive verb. This is the place where they are breeding, raising the things that live in the water, and then they will be killed and turned into human food. And I don't appreciate this whatsoever. They're farming the fish. Boop. Now we have, this is interesting. Fish finger, 2 words, noun from 1962. It's British, so that's why I haven't heard it. The synonym is fish stick, which is coming up later in this episode. We'll talk about those at that point then. Fish finger. I mean, stick, finger. I see either one. Either one makes sense. Finger, though, makes it sound like you're eating the fingers of a fish. And they don't have fingers. Not in the way that I think of fingers. Now we have fish fry, 2 words, noun from 1824. Number 1, a picnic or supper. Why did I say that word so weird? A picnic? A picnic or supper featuring fried fish. And number 2, fried fish. That's all it is, just fish fry. But the event, when we say fish fry, we're talking about the event, the party, the dinner, whatever, where you are featuring fish that has been fried as like the main dish, I guess. And so, hey, everybody, let's have a fish fry. Hey, everybody, let's have a fish fry. But Spencer's not invited because he doesn't eat fish, but he likes fried food. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been to a fish fry, But although I should say that in the Chicago area, there is a guy, I think his company name is Saint Martin, and he, I think every Friday has a vegan fish fry, or often. I don't know how often, but it would be fun to eat at one of those. Beep. Next is fish hawk. 2 words, noun from 1709. The synonym is the number 1 definition for the word osprey, Osprey, or maybe osprey. Not sure how to pronounce that, but I think it's a bird, probably because it's called fish hawk also. It's like a hawk-like bird swooping down to get the fish. Are these the ones where they go down and then right before they hit the water, they like bring in their wings and they got the super pointy beak and they just go right in the water? Let's look up a picture. Let's look up a picture of a fish hawk. Is it literally a hawk? Is it just like a hawk? Maybe it would have been better to, well, here, oh yes, this very much looks like a hawk or a falcon, but it's called an osprey or an osprey, which I've heard before. I just can't remember which way to pronounce it. So I'm thinking that they really love the fish, but not the fried fish. I don't think I've ever seen an osprey frying fish. Next is fish hook, 1 word, noun from the 14th century, a usually barbed hook for catching fish. The barbed part, so there's the hook. It does the hooky thing, but then the barbed part means that there's a little part sticking off to make it a little bit harder to get the hook out of whatever it is hooked into. You got to be careful. Got to be careful with these. When you're putting the bait on, the lure on, you don't want to poke yourself. That would be bad. I don't have a memory of this, thankfully, but when I was very young, I got a fish hook in my finger. To this day, now see, it's of course hard to find, but to this day, there is a little spot. Oh, there it is. A little spot on one of my fingers, and I'm pretty sure that is some little piece of the fish hook stuck in my finger. I've heard of other people who like got stabbed with a pencil and then the little bit is just stuck there. But on my and it's not like you're going to be able to see this, on my ring finger on my left hand, there is a tiny little dark dot. And once I was an adult, I was like, I wonder where that came from. And then I remembered that my parents told me a story of we were with a bunch of people and a fish hook got in my finger. And I was like, maybe that's the fish hook in there. Wouldn't that be interesting? So yeah, it's my little fish hook souvenir. But yeah, I must have been like 3 or 4, so I don't remember this traumatic experience. But maybe that's why I'm afraid of fish hooks. Next is fishing. Just the word fishing. Noun from the 13th century. Number 1, the sport or business of catching fish. Yeah, it's a business. Many, many people around the world have their business be fishing. I have my business be fishing. Number 2, a place for catching fish. A place? Let's go to the fishing? Interesting. Now, I don't know if I've heard it used that way, but it does make sense. There's a lot of other words that end in ing like that. Let's go to the fishing, to do the fishing, which is our business of catching fish. Oh, well, I feel like I should say here, because we're talking about catching fish, it all comes back to David Lynch. He wrote a book called Catching the Big Fish, and his quote that he has said many times is that ideas are like fish. And you got to go deep if you want to catch the big fish. You can sometimes use the little fish as lures for the big fish. That's a little bit of an impersonation of him when he's real excited. And so, yeah, that's his analogy, that ideas, concepts, creative ideas are like fish, and you find them and you grab them. And you got to go deep into consciousness to catch the big fish. And he was a big proponent of meditation. He meditated twice a day for almost 52 years. And I guess he said that he didn't really get ideas while he was meditating, but it put him into a state of mind where he could see them in the day-to-day life and be open to inspiration from the day-to-day life. So he has a book called Catching the Big Fish. It's a very small, tiny little book all about meditation and ideas and creativity and art and all that stuff. Okay, fishing. Now we go on to fishing expedition, noun from 1874. Number 1, a legal interrogation or examination to discover information for a later proceeding. It's like the lawyers are taking their metaphorical fishing hook and casting it out there into the world of the people that they're talking to see if they can gather some information. Let's go on a fishing expedition to gather some information that we will use for a later proceeding. Number 2, an investigation that does not stick to a stated objective, but hopes to uncover incriminating or newsworthy evidence. Yeah, very similar. It's funny that there was nothing here about going on a boat to fish in a big body of water, which is literally what a fishing expedition is. But nope, we use it in the legal world. Next is fish ladder, 2 words. Oh, how I want to see fish trying to go up a ladder. Cartoon fish, probably. Noun from 1864. A series of pools arranged like steps by which fish can pass over a dam in going upstream. Oh, this is interesting. Well, it possibly could be a naturally occurring thing, but maybe humans are also making this to allow them. So sometimes fish got to swim upstream. The salmon, that's the typical example. When they're trying to go back home to lay their babies or to mate and lay their baby eggs, they have to swim upstream, which is very difficult to do, especially when it's very strong water. Sometimes there's little waterfalls, and the fish have to jump and leap and jump, and that's when the bears come and try and eat those salmon. But this is a fish ladder. There are pools by which fish can pass over a dam in going upstream. So I guess if there's a dam or a little fall and they have to go up it, they can maybe hop into one pool and then hop into another pool and then into another pool, and then they get to go up on the other side of the dam or something. This is fascinating, and I'm curious if these are they human-made? Let's see. Let's just do fish. There's a fish ladder park. This looks like this is definitely human-made. Maybe there are some accidentally, naturally occurring ones, but largely these are human-made. Yeah, there's a dam here, and then they have a fish ladder next to it. This is a very complicated one that turns corners. And I guess they're like, well, we want to put a dam here, but the fish still need to go back to their home area, so we're going to build this ladder for them. Wow, I don't know if I was aware of this. Fascinating. Well, I'm glad that they're still making a place for fish to do their stuff. Wow, so weird. Wild animals using human-made stuff. We could do more of that to make it easier for the animals to live when we're messing everything up. Next is fish meal, 2 words, noun from 1854. Don't like where this is going. Ground dried fish and fish waste, used as fertilizer and animal food. Okay, so not only are we killing the fish for human food, but we're killing them and also taking their waste and putting it together, grinding it up, drying it, grinding it, and then either feeding other animals this thing or using it as a fertilizer so we can grow plants. Maybe there's other things that we could use instead of those. I don't know, fish meal. Blech. Blech. Next is fishmonger, one word. Noun from the 15th century. This is chiefly British, and it is a fish dealer. Someone who is dealing in fish. Their business is fish. They're selling fish. Maybe they're catching fish. Mainly, they're the one selling it out to the people who want the fish. They're mongering the fish. Bleep. Fish net. One word, noun from before the 12th century. Number 1, netting fitted with floats and weights, or a supporting frame for catching fish. This is like, it's usually a big net, and it has a bunch of, I guess, usually floats all around. I guess it depends on what you're trying to do. Floats so it stays up near the top, or weights so it sinks down. And you'll see people just throw out these huge nets into the water and just try and catch a whole bunch of fish. They're like, then they get trapped and they can't do anything. And there's that great scene in Finding Nemo where they're all caught. All the fish are caught in a fish net. And then Nemo and his dad, Marlin, are trying to... They say, go all swim in the same direction, because the fish are like, I'm trying to get out of here. And then they're like, no, work together as a team. You're much stronger when you work together as a team. So let's all swim down. And the whole thing gets pulled down. And they escape from the fish net. And it made us all very happy. Okay, number 2, a coarse open mesh fabric. It's a fabric that has... it's a mesh, but it's open mesh. So it's not like, I don't know, I guess you'd say like stockings are a mesh, but a fish net is like, it's got big holes. It's like threads here and there, but there's big holes. So little things can get through, but big things can't, which is why they use a fish net, because they're like, well, we want to catch fish of this size. We don't want to catch the smaller fish, so they can just swim right through the fish net holes. But the bigger fish, we don't want them to escape. We want to take them and keep them for our own. All right, and then the coarse open mesh, it's coarse? Why is it coarse? And then sometimes people will wear this, maybe on their legs, fish net stockings. That's it for that. Fish oil is next. 2 words, noun from 1785. A fatty oil from the bodies of various fishes that contain large amounts of unsaturated fatty acids and is used in making various products. So, examples of these products would be cosmetics and paints. Did you know that there is fish oil in your cosmetics? Maybe. Some of them are probably like, nope, we don't use any animal products in our products. There is no fish oil in ours, but then other ones, there might be some fish oil. Why are they using fish oil in cosmetics? What does it do? Why? What's the point? And then paints. Same. Why? Is it the fattiness? Do you need fattiness in your paints? Examples of the fishes where this oil is coming from are menhaden or sardines. And I have never heard of menhaden fish, but that's a type of fish. And then also sardines. Yeah, I think sardines are supposed to be real, I don't know, oily, fatty or something. I ain't never had them. Yeah. And then, some people will take this as a supplement. Oh, you got to get your fish oil. It's got all those good unsaturated fatty acids. Got to get those into my system. I don't know. I'm sure there's some benefit. Next is fish out. 2 words. Transitive verb from 1892. To exhaust the supply of fish in by fishing. To exhaust the supply of fish in, like the amount of fish in a thing, in a body of water, you are fishing them, and then once you have taken all of them out of the thing, you've exhausted the supply of fish in that thing, and now you have fished it out. You've You did a fish out. Oh no, where'd all the fish go? We fished them. We fished them right out of there. Oh, well, now the ecology of that body of water is going to get all messed up because you weren't doing it sustainably. Fish out. I'll fish you out. I also figured this would be something like trying to just get information. I'm going to fish out that stuff from your brain. Next is fish plate. One word, noun from 1855. A steel plate used to lap a butt joint. And oh, the immature child in me. I'm still a 13-year-old. It's used to lap a butt joint. I don't know what this is. I guess it's just it says it's a steel plate. So it's just a flat piece of steel that they use to do something to the joint on your butt. To sit on your butt lap, to lap up your butt. I don't know what this is. I think this is like carpentry and metalwork and stuff like that. Fish plate. Why is it called a fish plate? Did you used to put a fish on the plate? I don't know. Bloop. Next is fish pond. One word, noun from the 14th century. A pond stocked with fish. Oh, you gotta do the inventory of that stock. Once a month, you gotta do the inventory. And, oh, we got so many fish here. Wait a minute, where'd that fish come from? We didn't stock this with this fish. It just came out of nowhere. A fish pond. Some people have fish ponds in their backyard. You gotta upkeep it, probably clean it, feed them, do all the stuff. I don't know. Seems like it would be nice. But then they're just living in this tiny little place. They should be out in the wild. Bleep. Fish protein concentrate. 3 words. Noun from 1961. A protein-rich food additive made from ground whole fish. Why do we need to add it? Why are we using any additives at all? It's an additive. It's like you're just adding it to a thing. It gives me that feeling that it's not supposed to be there. It doesn't need to be there, but we're adding it for filler. Fish protein concentrate. Okay, great. Look out for that ingredient on your random foods. Bleep. Next is fish stick. 2 words. It's not fish dick, like South Park made that very funny episode about fish dicks. No, it's fish stick. Noun from 1953. A small, elongated, breaded fillet of fish. Is it an actual fillet? Maybe back in the day it was, but now these days I feel like they're probably processed. It's probably they take a bunch of it's like the hot dog of the fish world. But then it's fried. Ooh, like a corn dog? Yeah, it's breaded and fried. Well, I guess not necessarily fried. It's more of the breaded part that makes it the stick. And then it's probably baked or fried. And, and then you put some tartar sauce on it, dip it in some tartar sauce. That seems like the right thing to do if you're going to be eating these fish sticks. Got to emphasize the stick part so you don't think I'm saying fish dick. Anyway, let's move on to bloop. Fish story. Ooh. 2 words, noun from 1819. This is an extravagant or incredible story. And without looking at the etymology, I assume this is when people are telling their tall tales of like, I once caught a fish this big. Wow, that's amazing. But no, it was really only this big. That's the size of the fish that I caught. But I want to sound great. And you can't prove it because I let it go afterwards. You don't know what I caught. Might be telling you a fish story. Okay, what it's actually from the traditional exaggeration by fishermen of the size of the fish almost caught. Oh, they almost caught a fish that size, but they didn't. But nobody else was out there to see what happened. So they can just tell any story they want. They're going to tell a fish story. How odd that this is in the dictionary. Okay, next word. Bloop. We've got fish tail. Fish tail. Tail. This is all one word. It's a verb from 1927. It is just intransitive. Number 1, to swing the tail of an airplane from side to side to reduce speed, especially when landing. So, the back of the plane has that vertical tail like a fish. And so I guess, and there's a rudder on the thing that they can rotate. So I guess when they swing that back and forth, it's going to slow them down because it's creating air resistance. And then while they're landing, they're like, yeah, we need to slow down. So let's do a fish tail. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Let's shake your tail around. And then you come to a smooth landing. But number 2, we have to have the rear end side. No. Okay. Oh, here. Let's use real words. To have the rear end slide from side to side out of control while moving forward. As in the example, the car fishtailed on the icy curve. I have a very distinct memory of turning onto a semi-major road in my town, turning left onto the road, and, during winter, there's ice around, and the car started to fishtail, and I'm going forward, but the back of the car is sliding back and forth, and I'm like, what is happening? I don't want to hit another car. Luckily, I did not hit another car. What do they say? I should put it in the show notes what they say to do in that situation. A lot, some people probably speed up. Some people probably let off the gas. Some people probably hit the brake. If you're going to hit the brake, are you going to slam on the brake? Are you going to pump the brakes? Are you going to tap on the brakes? What are you going to do with the steering wheel? So, I think there's some very specific things that they say to do. I don't know if I'm right, so I'll put this in the show notes, but I think they say don't slam on the brakes, maybe pump the brakes. A lot of cars these days have an automated pumping thing. I think they say if the back is swinging to the right, then you should turn the wheel to the right. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, there's some specific stuff to do if your car is fishtailing. Okay, now we got fishway. One word, noun from 1845. A contrivance for enabling fish to pass around a fall or dam in a stream. Specifically, it's the synonym fish ladder, which we talked about before. You're making a way for the fish. Making a way for fish to swim. Boo-ba-da-boo-boo-boo. Bloop. Fishwife. Fishwife. One word, noun from the 15th century. Number 1, a woman who sells fish. But her term, makes it sound like she's married to the fish. Is she married to the fish? Is that like being married to the mob? Number 2, a vulgar, abusive woman. Wow, okay. Well, I have to imagine this came from the woman who sells fish, and maybe they were stereotypically yelling at the people, the patrons, to say, come buy my fish. I'm a fishwife. My business is selling fish. And maybe they got kind of abusive and they were trying to force their fish on people. I don't know. And then they started calling people fishwife. Okay. Never heard of that one. I'll be aware next time I hear somebody call me a fishwife. I will know what they mean by that. Next is fishy. This is our last fish word. F-I-S-H-Y. Adjective from the 15th century. Number 1, of or resembling fish, especially in taste or odor. Luckily, I have nothing fishy here. Nothing smells or tastes like fish that I'm aware of. I don't love that smell. I don't love that fishy smell. But number 2, creating doubt or suspicion. as in the synonym questionable. Their intentions seem very fishy when they walked into the room looking like this. That seems very fishy. I have suspicions and doubts about that. Yeah, fishy. There's something fishy afoot. Bloop. Now we have the word fissile or fissile, Fissile. It's like missile with an F. Adjective from 1661, number 1, capable of or prone to being split or divided in the direction of the grain or along natural planes of cleavage, as in fissile wood or fissile crystals or fissile wood or fissile crystals. So it's prone to splitting, able to be split or divided, same kind of thing. And it's often in the direction of the grain or along natural plane of cleavage. So wood has a grain, and so you think, right there, that wood is able to be split on that grain, or it will naturally occur, possibly. Fissile. Well, I am aware of the next word that it's related to. We'll get there in a minute. Number 2 for fissile is capable of undergoing fission, Fission, which is our next word. Fissility is a noun, and that's good for that. I have not ever been exposed to this word before, to my knowledge. I guess I am fissile because you can take an axe and split me down the middle. Wow, that was a terrible, gross, weird example. So let's move on. Now we have the first form of the word fission or fission. This is our last word. We have 2 forms. Noun from circa 1617. Number 1, a splitting or breaking up into parts. Just anything that is getting broken up, split, cleaved into 2 or more parts. It is it's going through fission. Number 2, reproduction by spontaneous division of the body into 2 or more parts, each of which grows into a complete organism. It's crazy that cells are doing this. So, I mean, the cells divide, especially when you are being right after conception. The cell divides and divides again. They divide again and divide again. But they don't usually grow into a whole new thing. What's an example? Well, I mean, just the cells, like in your body, your cells age and die. And I think that they split, and maybe the new one lives and the old one dies. I don't really know all the cell details. But yeah, sometimes certain animals can split themselves, and then now there's 2 of them. What? How did that happen? They're going through fission. Number 3, the splitting of an atomic nucleus, resulting in the release of large amounts of energy. And this is nuclear stuff, nuclear bombs, nuclear energy. That's what this is all about. They're taking an atom and splitting it, and that action, it takes so much. I don't understand it, but there's a ton of energy that's released when one atom is split, and then when you have a whole bunch of atoms, you got a whole bunch of energy. And this is the E equals mc squared formula from Einstein. That's what this was all about. mc squared. One of those, I think, is the speed of light, and then the m is maybe the mass, and you put all that together, and then you get the amount of energy that would come from that thing. Oh, it's crazy. Fission. Fissionable. No, fissional. That is an adjective. This word comes from the Latin verb findere, which means to split. And there's more at the word bite, B-I-T-E, like I'm going to bite this apple later, and I'm going to just take off the sticker. I'm going to bite it and break it into pieces. Maybe that's how it was connected. I'm not sure. Bloop. The second form of fission is an intransitive. It's a verb from 1929, starting with intransitive. To undergo fission. We're constantly undergoing fission. We're going through fission all the time. Our cells are dividing, trying to make new ones. Hopefully they're new and healthy. Maybe they're even better than the old ones. Oftentimes I think they're worse. Transitive is to cause, to undergo fission. You're making something else go through fission, like when we fission the atoms. All right. Anything else to say about fission? It's, tons and tons and tons of things are going through fission all the time. It's easier, I think, to go through fission than to go through fusion, which is where things are being combined into one, which does happen in the center of a star. We'll get to that later, I guess. Okay, I think now it is time to pick a word of the episode. Today we had fish eye, fish farm, fish finger, fish fry, fish hawk, fish hook, fishing, fishing expedition, fish ladder, fish meal, fishmonger, fish net, fish oil, fish out, fish plate, fish pond, fish protein concentrate, fish stick, fish story, fish tail, fish weigh, fish wife, fishy, thistle, fission, fission, and fission. Well. First of all, don't call me a fish wife. I don't think I'm that abusive. What else? What else do I like here? I mean, there's a lot of good ones, but I think I'm just going to pick fish eye, 2 words with a hyphen, as the word of the episode. Because fish eye lenses have a really cool look, but it's probably too much for the average person. I don't know. What was the movie that we saw recently that had a lot of fisheye stuff? What is that filmmaker's name? He did Kinds of Kindness, which I haven't seen. Oh my God, the brain. Why can't I think of any of these words? He's used fisheye lens in at least a couple of his movies, I think. Yorgos Lanthimos, that's his name. And what was Poor Things? I think there was a number of fisheye lenses in that, and I don't know what the point was particularly. Had a cool look. The Favorite was the other one where I think he used a lot of fisheye lenses. And I don't know. Does he just like the look of a fisheye lens? Does it have a certain purpose in the story, the meaning? I'm not sure. I'm sure I could think of something if I thought about it, but I'd have to watch him again. Okay, that's it for the words. And I will quickly tell you about a movie that I watched, which is Wolfman. I think that's next on the list. And this is, I get they're redoing the classic Universal monsters, and so, but they're doing something new with them, modernizing them in some way. And so Lee Wanell, I think, was the director and maybe the writer of this one, and he had previously done The Invisible Man. And he turned that story on its head a little bit. He made the Invisible Man the bad guy, and brought it into the real world. Like, how could this actually happen in our world? And he did the same thing with Wolfman. He's not a werewolf. That's different. He's not turning at the moon for the full moon. It's I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say too much. But yeah, it was a cool way to bring it into the real world, and there was some cool stuff that they did. They showed, like, what does it look like through his eyes sometimes, and I appreciate that. And it's about a family. Yeah. All right, That is the end of this episode. So thank you very much for checking it out. And until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.